A Democrat just defended shaking hands with Trump, and what he said next is shaking up both parties.
Mr. Fetterman, thank you so much for being here.
Good to be back.
Why did you think it was important to shake President Trump's hand?
Well, of course, that's the president. You don't have to agree with everything. You can be in a different party. I think that's just basic respect and courtesy, whether it's for the office or whether it's just kind of, I can't think we can get to the place where, the State of the Union can't turn into like the Springer show.
Do you think your colleagues, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, conducted themselves the right way by that metric?
I'm saying I just disagree with that. It's not my, I'm not going to criticize it, but I'm going to say that's just not something I choose. And I think I walked around and I realized that half my colleagues were gone. And now if they want to boycott it, that's their choice. But I think overall, I don't see that coming back to, I remember back in 2009 when, I forget his name, Joe Wilson, yelled. That was really provocative and shocking to people. And that had bipartisan, they condemned that. And now here it's just part of the now where it's just kind of like here it is. So I think something's lost when, if that becomes like the new normal.
Do you think President Trump is responsible for that new normal?
I think we're all part of it too, and I do think we have to find a way. If we can be in the same room, we can disagree on these things. You don't have to sign off on everything. You don't have to agree with everything. And now, if I hear something that I agree with or I like that, hey, I'm going to stand up and clap for those things. And I think, and if someone's angry that I shook the president's hand as he walked in, that's I think that's on them. And I think some of the people that were angry that I did that, they didn't really have a problem when Mandami visited with the White House too. So like if we refuse to talk to the other side, that's the only one that really loses, that's America.
Some people were surprised you wore a suit and tie.
I'm not sure why that's news. Yes, I do. I do dress like a slob, but for me, I'm gonna respect the event. Respect. That's the dress code, of course. So for me, it was an opportunity to hear these things, and I think there was enough there that I could say, hey, I want to acknowledge that I think that's a good thing.
You obviously have spoken with President Trump. You met with him in the past. What was the last time you spoke to him privately?
No, it's just one of the things that was perhaps might make unique amongst the Democrats. I supported the Iranian strike last year, and I think every single senator in this agrees that we can never allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon. And if we all agree with that, I think harsh language won't be the solution. And now we've all discovered that a treaty or those kind of negotiations were unsuccessful. So the one thing that really did matter, and I think was impactful, was those kinetic kinds of strikes. And now here we might be again, where now they have another issue in that those missiles that they have. And now China is selling those hypersonic missiles there. That's outrageous. That's effectively, the Chinese are selling that technology that would be aimed right at American ships, and I'll call and hold them accountable for that.
So would you urge President Trump to strike Iran in the interest of regime change there?
Well, I do think if you can, Iran absolutely wants to acquire a nuclear bomb, and Iran has done, they built up Hamas and Hezbollah and Houthis. So clearly, and now Iran executed tens of thousands of their young people, and now the brutality for that. So, Iran and that regime, the war is never about the Iranian people. Actually, their war was also against Iranian people. But for me, it's about the regime. And now here it's teetering. And now here we are. So that's why I would not vote for the Iranian powers resolution, because the president will need to have the flexibility for these kinds of targeted attacks.
Fair enough. Let's turn to the midterm elections for a second. This message the president delivered obviously very much aimed at that. Do you think it would be good for the country for Democrats to retake at least one chamber of Congress in the fall?
I'm a Democrat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that it would be a good thing.
I think that is the question.
The House, you don't need to have a degree to know that, that's going to happen. That's not just, it's a fact. Just look at look at the history, the party in power, there's backlash, and now it's already, I think the margin's already just a couple seats already. So yeah, that'll flip. And now if the Senate might be in play, so and that means it. So for me, as someone the only one I think that's flipped a red seat for blue, and now that makes it even mathematically possible to regain the majority here in the Senate.
And you still fully intend to continue to be part of the Democratic Party no matter what?
We've talked about this.
I know we have.
It's just, it's like the numbers bear it out. I vote in the 90s%, of that. I mean, you can look it up. It's a fact. I'm not changing the party, and I might clap for some things that I agree, but when you represent Pennsylvania, that's there. It's like, hey, we would all love like a blue state, then you can really just have to talk to one side. But for me, it's a special responsibility if you represent Pennsylvania that, we have to find a way forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think the question there really is about the reality that there are some Democrats that are considering challenging you in your race, potentially should you, of course, decide to run for re-election. In a potential re-election, would you want President Trump's endorsement in Pennsylvania?
What I'm saying, it's like anyone's entitled, but it's very strange. If anyone is a Democrat, I'm not sure. It's like the guy that flipped a red seat, and someone now. It's like now my record is solid Democrat. So whatever's possible. So for me, where I'm at, here we are. Don't we all want the kind of Democrat that can flip a seat? That's the one thing that matters. There's no drama. Who's going to be in California or in Massachusetts, where it is the states that really matter about the big dance. They all come down to those specific kinds of states. And now somebody, in Morning Consult a couple weeks ago, I'm up 15 points. I mean, that's so I think.
Enough.
Yeah, so.
Fair enough. And of course, that big, in 2028 could come all the way down to just to Pennsylvania. Senator John Fetterman, thank you.
When John Fetterman says shaking the president's hand is just basic respect, and people get angry, that tells you everything about today's politics. We've reached a point where civility looks like betrayal, respect looks like weakness, and disagreement turns into division. But here's what makes this bigger. Fetterman didn't switch sides. He didn't praise Trump. He simply said, we should be able to be in the same room without acting like enemies. And somehow that's controversial.